Well, welcome back. Tonight we take lesson 7 from our ACC 304 class. Lesson 7 directs us to read chapters 19, 20, and 21, found on pages 106, 107 of the text. We begin with chapter 19, confidential client information. It states under Rule 301 simply that the agent is not to disclose confidential client information without specific consent of the client. In this content, the word specific means in writing. There are some exceptions. If the CPA is subject to a peer review or a disciplinary hearing, then the information may be supplied as part of that process. Also, confidential information can be ordered by a judge through a legal subpoena. If the CPA firm is part of a sale, purchase, or merger with another firm, the information may be shared, subject to an agreement in writing to hold such information confidential by the third party, that is, the one acquiring the firm. Rule 501, Chapter 20, presents acts discreditable to the profession. 4 items are listed. Number 1, records belonging to the client should always be returned upon request. Number 2, records may be withheld only if the engagement is incomplete or payment for service has not been made, which is the same as incomplete. And number 3, working papers are the property of the audit firm unless the law states otherwise. Finally, the CPA code generally requires the return of all loan documents. Rule 502, Chapter 21, covers advertising and other forms of solicitation, meaning sales activity. The rule states that false, misleading, or deceptive advertising is prohibited. The text amplifies this statement rather briefly. We'll take a closer look at this subject because it is a fascinating part of the law and exactly what you can and can't say in terms of advertising. Often you'll be surprised at what is legal. Doesn't look like it at first. The discussion questions center around licensing and business of the CPA firm. The question is how to structure a combined accounting firm. Law firm is included in here as well. Although the text does not deal with these issues directly, they are easily researched online, which we will do. We did talk about most of Lesson 7 last week, and so we'll take a quick look at the specific learning objectives and discussion questions to see what is new. 4 objectives listed here include understand Treasury Department rules. Number 2, determine departure from standards, and we'll have a fair amount to say about that one actually. Number 3, understand the usage of fictitious names and limitations on the use of fictitious business names, and which is a fairly important subject because you will deal with that in starting up your own business one day perhaps. Lastly, number 4, understand types of commissions and fee bases, and we'll take a look at what the accounting firm can properly engage in the way of sales. As we indicated, chapter 19, 20, and 21 are for reading, and those you find in the handout, or the mailing that I sent you last week. Finally, discussion questions. Number 1, discuss license requirements of the CPA firm. What kind of licensing is required to open a CPA firm? Number 2, discuss joint practices of law and accounting. These two go together pretty well, obviously, but the question is, are there special areas we have to consider? Are there potential conflicts that need to be taken into account? Number 3, discuss the ethics ruling on form of organization and name. That is, the 3 forms of organization and how that impacts the name of the business. Number 4, finally, discuss the responsibility for the non-CPA partner in the event that we have a combination, for instance, CPA and law. What would be the responsibilities entailed by such a partnership. That will take us through Lesson 7. I trust you'll find it fairly interesting in some aspects and fairly mundane and ordinary in others, since we have talked about much of this subject matter already. Looking forward to seeing you in class. Goodbye.